So, greetings on this beautiful day. Um, it's so lovely to see the sun shining. It was with all the rain that we got yesterday that was nourishing the earth, but it is lovely to see the sunshine. So, we're going to talk about compassion today, and I spoke about Anu Gupta, who created the wonderful um, not-for-profit called Be More with Anu to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion. Gosh, I met him many years ago when he was just starting, and he has a wonderful human heart. And he cautions us that although it is important to keep the suffering of our world in our hearts and minds, it is also important to take care of our own hearts, not to succumb to the fear that overexposure to media typically activates. So it's so important, he continues, to be really clear and stay clear about the distinction between self and other. And it's in our meditation practice that we really learn to observe the thoughts and the feelings that are a part of our own subjective experience. And the more skilled that we become at our meditation practice, the more skilled we become at developing these necessary boundaries. And even the meditation that we did last week, the loving kindness for ourself, is a meditation that can be very effective at helping us to create these boundaries that are really important, that we don't get stuck in the feeling of somebody else's suffering. And of course, this is not to say that we don't feel and wish to change the experience of our human brothers and sisters who are suffering, but rather that we can maintain our own perspective. And it's with this broader perspective that we have the capacity and the energy to move from empathy to compassion. And compassion is where we can act on our desires to help. And so, just to define the terms that we often use, and sometimes we use them kind of very fluidly, but sympathy is to feel sorry for another, but not necessarily being able to relate to what's happening to them. So, sympathy is I feel sorry for you. Empathy is actually feeling another person's pain. And compassion is taking the next step to ask the question, how can I help? And that action doesn't have to be a grandiose gesture. It can simply be listening to another person as they pour out their hearts to a non-judgmental listener, for perhaps. So sympathy, empathy, and compassion are all interrelated emotions. And so one is not any better than the other, but it's important to understand the function of each one as a human emotion and not to get stuck in any of them. So, if we talk about empathy for a moment, it's a very important foundational emotion for human connection. And I like the analogy that it's kind of the spark that can ignite compassion. But on its own, without compassion, empathy can be very draining of our emotional resources. And research in fMRI machines have been able to show this, that empathy and compassion are actually experienced in different parts of our brain. And so again, empathy catapults us into compassion, but on its own, if we stay in that empathetic mode, we can become very drained. And so as healthcare workers, we often talk about compassion fatigue, and more recent research really points to in the direction that this is really empathy fatigue. So with empathy, we join the suffering of others, but we stop short of actually helping, I mean. But with compassion, we take that next step away from the emotion of empathy and we ask the question, very simple, how can I help? And so, again, empathy is a really important feature of compassion that we need to support while at the same time really remembering the difference between ourself and others so that we don't become overwhelmed by the suffering of others. And there is so much suffering in our world today, folks, that this is a really important balance that we need to achieve. And wise Wise teachers advise that we can and need to hold both of these truths at once, that we are interconnected with one another, but we are also distinct from one another. And so we need to walk that very delicate balance between opening our experience endlessly and also accepting the uniqueness of who we are. And so when we're on the verge of losing this balance, we can perhaps repeat guiding words to remind us that we care about the other person, but we are not them. That can just simply be saying something to yourself that this is so and so's experience. It's not my experience, but I want to help them to get through this experience. And our meditation also keeps our emotions more balanced and our energy resources more available. And so, as we do something as simple as we do in our meditation practice, following our breath, we dampen the flames of the sympathetic nervous system and we tap into the calm of the parasympathetic nervous system. So, let's do a meditation and we will tap into that calming effect of our parasympathetic nervous system. And as we begin, we're going to establish, if anybody's here that has never meditated before, it's always important to understand that we want to have just like a sailboat has an anchor. We want to be able to anchor our own mind in the present moment. Because sometimes when we become quiet, we become overwhelmed by a memory or perhaps our to-do list or something that can be very overwhelming. And we want to be able to bring ourselves back to the present moment, reminding ourselves, I am in this moment right now, not wherever that memory might be. So establishing a position that's comfortable for you. If you're sitting, then if you can have your feet flat on the ground, feeling that connection. And I always like to sit with my back away from the back of the chair in an alert posture. You might be able to see me. I'll just move that down a little bit and then move it back up. But we're alert. That's something that we can relax into. And so feeling the posture, and before we even close our eyes, which we typically do in meditation, but it's not necessary. You can just cast them downward. Or for some people, you can actually meditate with your eyes open. The reason we close our eyes is so that we don't become captivated by what we're seeing through our sense door of sight. So just opening your eyes to take a look around the space that you're in, kind of expanding your perspective to just maybe looking at a point in the wall directly in front of you, but also having that peripheral vision of being able to have a sense of the room that you're in. And through this peripheral vision or looking directly in front of you, you may be seeing different colors. You may be seeing light coming in through a window, many different things. And this is our sense of sight. And so if at any time in the meditation you feel overwhelmed, always returning to opening your eyes, reminding yourself, I'm in this room, in this moment, right now. And then you can either close your eyes or you can cast them downward. And I'm going to invite you to shift from sight to hearing. And initially just hearing the sounds in your own environment. I know I spoke to somebody at the beginning of the session who said she's in Arizona and the bird song is quite prominent. And so that's what Melissa may be hearing. Or you might be hearing the sound of the furnace that for many of us in the Northeast is still clicking on and off. There may be sounds that are coming from outside your environment. If you're in New York City, perhaps it's horns, traffic, whatever it might be. simply identifying it as sound, as hearing. And now I'm going to layer the sound in your space with the sound of the bell. And so just simply allowing the sound to come to your ears and following it until it dissolves. And as the sound of the bell disappears, coming back to again simply hearing the sound in your own environment. This is present moment awareness, knowing that there's thinking that's going on in the background, but we're actually choosing to place our awareness and our focus on hearing. And now shifting from hearing to our sense of touch. Noticing how your body is touching many different surfaces. And just like, well, initially let's just broaden our awareness like a floodlight and kind of feel the entire body as it sits. The position of the body. I like to think of the position as a frame around a painting. So just seeing this frame of the body, the position, no judgment. We're just simply observing. And then narrowing our focus to the points of the body that are touching another surface. And so like a flashlight, bringing your awareness down to your feet that are touching the floor, the ground and the earth. Being aware of that gravitational pull of the earth, perhaps. Notice how the chair receives you. That touch point where the backs of your legs, your buttocks, perhaps your back touches the chair. Feeling directly into that sense of touch. And notice how your arms touch your body as they rest against it. And what are your hands touching? So we're experiencing all of this through our sense of touch, through our sensory awareness, always in the present moment. And notice how the air that surrounds you touches your skin. Where might that be apparent to you? Maybe on your hands or your cheeks. Just being curious. Where am I noticing that contact? Very, very light, like the touch of a butterfly on a flower, but it's there. And then where you may find it more apparent is at the nostrils, as the body pulls the air inward to breathe us. All of this without even thinking about it. This is just our body doing what our body does, breathes us. And so feeling the draw of the air inward on the inhale, and noticing how the body lets go on the out-breath, on the exhale. And again, bringing this quality of curiosity. What am I noticing about the in-breath and the out-breath. If you really pay attention, you may find the in-breath to be more energetic. You may notice how your spinal column kind of stretches upward. And then with the exhale, there's a sense of release in the body. So just spending a moment feeling the energy of the inhale and the release of the exhale. And if you'd like to accentuate this, you can extend the exhale. You can let the breath go through your lips, just like you're blowing very gently at a birthday candle, not blowing it out. Belly swells on the inhale, and on the exhale, the belly falls back towards the spine as the body releases, lets go, prepares for the next inhale. And as we're doing all this, bringing awareness and shifting it around through the body and our senses, notice with curiosity that there may be other sensations in the body. There may be other thoughts, other emotions that come to your attention as we're sitting in meditation. And can we simply accept that, this is what's here right now? We encounter everything, the pleasant, the unpleasant, and the neutral. We're simply being present, finding balance, noticing how sensations change. They're not necessarily solid, and that none of this is personal. And as we sit in meditation, there may be a whole range of different emotional weather systems. And can we simply name whatever presents, the thoughts or the emotions, just name them. Thinking, planning, worry, whatever it might be. And accept this is the visitor right now. In this moment, there is nothing to do, no place to go. Nothing to figure out or fix. We don't have to try to be anything. Just being present for this vibrant moment of being alive. And as we allow the body to come into this place of stillness and balance, see if you can get a sense of opening of your heart. You can even place your hand over your heart if you like. The more aware we become, the more we understand and the more open we are to love. As we begin to understand and accept our own vulnerability and our own humanity, we deepen our connection with all of life and all human beings. And one of the beautiful and powerful qualities of the heart that develops through the path of meditation is the quality of compassion. That strong, wise, and caring energy. And we can be the first recipient of our own caring and compassion. This energy of tenderness this energy of care. We can hold this space of overwhelm or fear, and we can hold it tenderly. And if it becomes too much, we can pass it to the earth or to our ancestors to hold it. Compassion sees the suffering of all beings, including our own selves, and doesn't turn away. And when there is balance, when there is strength, we can open to our own pain and the pain of the world. Compassion meets everything and says, it's okay. I'll do what I can to help. And so we can allow ourselves to be nourished by this compassion, this energy, so we can offer that care outwards to those in our life and those in need. And we'll do that through our loving kindness meditation. First, offering ourselves some love and kindness. And in so doing, nourishing our own seed of acceptance, love, and kindness. I will say the phrase, and then you can repeat it to yourself after me. And as you say the phrases, you can just imagine that you are dropping a seed or a flower into the ground or a pebble into a pond. And that seed or flower grows, or that ripple effect of the pebble expands. And so for ourselves, may I accept myself fully, holding my own self with care, with tenderness and kindness. May my own calmness and stillness support friendship, love, and loving kindness. May my own calmness and stillness support friendship, love, and loving kindness. May my loved ones, my family, parents, brothers, sisters, live in peace and harmony. Just as I do, may others extend kindness, friendship, and hospitality as a contribution to peace and harmony, so that in all directions we are living a life of calm and kindness. May I offer my care and presence unconditionally, knowing that it may be met by gratitude, by indifference, by anger or anguish. May I offer love, knowing that I cannot control the course of life, the course of suffering or of death. May I see my limits compassionately, just as I view the suffering of others. May people and all beings affected by hatred and malice continue to find strength and unity in others and the support that they need for survival, transformation, and eventual thriving. May those affected by hatred and malice continue to find strength and unity in others and the support they need for survival, for transformation, and eventual thriving. May our calm presence generate peace and calm in the world around us. And now, thinking of the afternoon ahead of you and setting your intention to be present with kindness, with self-care, with compassion, and with love, and whatever else comes to mind that you think will be important for your afternoon. Just setting your intention. How do I want to be in the rest of my day? What are the qualities that will really support me? And then coming back to your breath whenever you're ready. Breathing in, breathing out, and thanking yourself for taking this time for self-care and setting your intention to continue to have these moments of self-care throughout your day. And so I'll ring the bell to end the meditation and simply allow the sound to come to you and follow it until it disappears. Taking a deeper breath, opening your eyes whenever you're ready.